Hi, it's Khadijah Inspires, and I can tell you that if you're seeing this on your YouTube at all, one, you're either a super loyal subscriber, and I appreciate that. Two, you want to start reading more in general, you've just never been a reader. Or three, you used to really read a lot, but life started to get busy, and so now you want to rekindle that relationship. And I'm going to show you how to do that with 3 simple tips. Go ahead and stay tuned, and I'll show you how. Okay, so for today's video, I really wanted to sit down and share 3 tips that have been helping me right now. Since I'm an essential worker, I also create content. It's been a little bit difficult for me to make sure that I've been reading, but I found 3 tips that have been helping me, and so I can only hope by passing that on to you, it could help you as well. Very first tip that I have is time blocking. A lot of people say that they don't have time to read, but it's kind of like, do you honestly believe that you don't have time to read? Because I don't believe you don't have time to read. We have time to do everything else. So we have 15 minutes, 20 minutes to spare and read, right? So there's 2 ways that you can time block, or 2 ways that I like to time block. One way is really literally set a timer. Sit down and type in I'm gonna put in my 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and during that time, I'm not doing anything else but reading. It also helps if you turn on your do not disturb so that you're not allowing other people to come in and interrupt your reading. Leave that time for you to specifically read and reach that goal of accomplishing, you know what I mean, whatever amount of pages that you want to read. Another way to time block is to set specific page amounts, page number goals. Like for me, if I'm super busy and I'm just like, okay, cool, no, I need to sit down and read something, I will literally read 3 to 5 pages. And it sounds small until you look at it at the end of the week and are like, wow, I only read 3 to 5 pages every day, but at the end of the week, you're looking at 21 to 35 pages of that week that you read. And that is way better than not reading at all. So those are 2 ways that you can time block to make sure that you're reading. The second way that you can make sure that you're reading more is audiobooks. I know that I personally prefer to read a physical book, but let's face it, sometimes we really have to utilize those pocket times. And I like to call it pocket times because I feel like they're the times when we're not necessarily not doing anything, but we're not doing anything that requires our ears to listen or anything like that. An example of that is like, for example, you're using the bathroom. For example, you're going for a run. For example, you're cooking. These are pocket times that is kind of like, yeah, I'm doing something, but I can still afford to listen and retain information. At the end of the day, yes, you know what I mean, you'd prefer to be physically reading the book, but you'd really be surprised how much ground you can cover on a book by just listening to it. It takes that effort off of you actually having to sit down and read. So 3 good places that you can get books is actually here on YouTube. YouTube has audiobooks. Like YouTube has like a lot of self-development books. I'm pretty sure they have a couple like, I'm pretty sure if you just look up the book here on YouTube and type in audiobook, you'd probably be able to find it. Let me turn down my volume. So yes, YouTube is one way that you can use audiobooks. Another way is Audible. I like Audible. I don't use it as much. I have a subscription, so it's like basically they give you credits every month, and you also have access to their personal collection, the Audible collection, and you can swap books out. So I really feel like audiobooks is like a really big way that people can make sure that they're reading on a busy schedule, because honestly speaking, if you're driving to work and it takes you 30 minutes, 45 minutes to get to work, you can really cover a lot of ground with an audiobook. And then the last place that I'm going to mention here, there's so many other places, but another place that I want to mention is Overdrive. Overdrive has audiobooks as well. So audiobooks are going to be a game changer in you making sure that you're reading on a busy schedule. And the last tip that I have as far as reading on a busy schedule is to skim. Yes, skim. You can honestly cover a lot of ground, because to be honest, really what I noticed too is that when we're reading, even if you sit down and read the entire page, like when you close that book and when you're done with it, there's only going to be a certain amount of information that actually resonates with you and stays with you, right? Like, so honestly speaking, like if you're skimming, you're actually doing yourself a favor by just kind of getting to the main idea. And I also feel like this is really, really important for people that like study, that use textbooks and things like that for school. Skimming is gonna help you read so much more. Like if you just go off of the headers and then kind of skim through, not skim through as in not read necessarily, but like speed read. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know those people that be reading and they be like this, going through the lines, like they're not really reading it for real, but they're getting the information that they need from it. I feel like that's a way that you can honestly get more reading, and especially if you have a project or something due. And then another way that you can honestly skim, as well as like if there's questions or anything that you have to answer after, just read the questions and go back and, you feel what I'm saying, like find the answers. So that way you'll have the answers that you need for that, and then when you want to go back to it and actually get the meat and potatoes, like get the actual like context, you can go back and read it on your own time. But I feel like you would definitely get a lot more reading done, a lot of us, if we would just get to the point. You know what I'm saying? Like if we would just sit down and get to the point of the text. And I want to give a shout out to my friend Natalia. She has a book out right now called Me Versus Me, and she pretty much talks about her experience as a model and her personal experience as a beautiful, strong woman. And she basically talks about how she was drinking poison expecting for other people to die. So go ahead and check it out and buy it. The link is going to be in my description bar. Okay, that was it. Those are my 3 tips for reading more on a busy schedule. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and subscribe, share for somebody that might need some tips or might need some help, and click on one of these videos here that YouTube is going to probably put up so that you guys can stay tuned and tapped into the YouTube channel. Period.